You live around here? You live around here?
See, if I want,
You live around here?
yes,
Oh, yeah?
yes.
Are you going to AFPAC tonight?
No, just start. So you know, for now, the guys is
Yeah.
they are crazy. So I just started 4 hours ago.
Oh. But you don't know if you're going to make it tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, I hope I see you there.
Okay.
So AFPAC was last night, and just like last year, I'm going to give my rundown on it and my thoughts on the whole entire event. And especially this year, it's very necessary because a lot of people have the wrong opinions, but have no fear. I will tell you what the correct opinions are to have. But overall, it was a awesome event. I think that America First is clearly breaking through to the mainstream. The speakers that he had this year definitely legitimized America First in a massive way. Our enemies are seething like never before. It is glorious to see. But I did not think that I was even going to make it to AFPAC this year because I went through a nightmare trying to get to Florida. So, quick story. I planned and booked my flight 2 months ago, whenever I bought the tickets for AFPAC in early January or something like that. And I had my flight booked for Friday morning at 6 a.m. So Thursday, I get an email saying that my flight was canceled and they automatically booked it for Saturday at 3 p.m., which is not a good flight for me to take because AFPAC is on Friday. So why would they put my flight on Saturday? That obviously I couldn't do that. So I'm driving home from work and I get this email notification, and now I have like 12 hours to leave. So I Google the JetBlue phone number, and I guess what they do is that they try to scam you by putting ads on Google. So it's the first results and it says like, this is JetBlue's number, and you call it, but it's a scam. And that's exactly what happened to me. I got on the phone with this Indian guy and he tried scamming me out of $200, and he was very rude, and he was like, oh, well, we can put you on this next flight, but you're gonna need an upgrade and it's gonna be $186. And I was like, this does not sound right. And I was like, how are you gonna make me pay for something that's not my fault when you canceled my flight? Right? And he was like, well, you can call customer service and you could wait 6 or 8 hours online if that's what you want to do. Like, really super rude. And like, I realized midway through the phone call, like, oh, okay, this is definitely like some scam. So I finally found the real JetBlue number, and it took me an hour and a half to get in touch with them. They said that there was I could either take a flight at 6 a.m. It was a different flight, but that it might get canceled because of the weather, or I can take one at 8 p.m. So I said, you know what, let me just take the one at 8 p.m. because I don't want to risk the flight being canceled at the last minute or whatever. It was like 4:30. And so they were like, okay, we'll book you for the 8 o'clock one. Then as soon as they went to book me, they said, oh no, sorry, that space isn't available anymore. So the only one left was another one that left at not 6 a.m. I think it was like 7:20 or something like that. So I was like, all right, 7:20 a.m., let's do that. I'll do that. So wake up in the morning, take an Uber to the airport, right? Get on the 7:20 a.m. flight, and they have to spray us with like this antifreeze thing, right? And we get to the runway and they go, oh, we're experiencing technical difficulties. There's messages popping up. We don't know what it is. We're gonna try and figure it out, right? Long story short, it was a 5-hour delay. I sat in the plane for 5 hours before the plane even took off. And then it was a 2.5-hour flight. So I was in a plane for 8 hours for a 2.5-hour flight. It was miserable. And planes should not exist. Planes are satanic hell tubes that are discriminatory against tall people. They are miserable. People shouldn't fly. If God wanted us to fly, he would have given us wings. And I think it's because I flew economy too. Apparently people are saying that I should fly first class. And if I ever fly again, I'm definitely flying first class because these little tiny seats were not made for me. I was squeezed between this fat guy and some boomer lady, and my knees were killing me. My butt was numb. It was just a completely miserable experience. I would have rather walked barefoot on glass from New York to Florida than experience what I went through. It was miserable. So anyway, fine. And I didn't think I was gonna make it because I'm looking at the time. I was supposed to leave at 7 in the morning and get there by 10, and we didn't leave until 12. And I was like, if this plane doesn't leave by 12:30 or 1, then I'm not gonna make it. I finally get to Florida at 3 o'clock, I land. So now I have an hour and a half to get from the airport to my hotel, shower, change into my suit, and then get to AFPAC. And we booked a hotel that was close to CPAC because last year, it's getting dark. All right, sorry, I had to turn on the light. So anyway, so we booked a hotel that was close to CPAC because last year AFPAC was very close to CPAC. So this year we did the same thing. We picked a hotel that was like 5 minutes away from where the CPAC event was happening. And then we find the location of AFPAC and it's like 20 minutes away. So whatever, we all rush and miraculously we got there. But for a while I was really thinking that I was not going to make it to AFPAC at all. So anyway, we get there, we go into the lobby and wait for them to let us in. We saw Susie and her son, who we've met like, I think this is the second or third time we've met now. We met at the Vax rally and stuff. She's been following me for a long time. They're great people. And it was packed. It was jam-packed. More people than any AFPAC event or even the Vax rally or the Stop the Steal thing. More people ever. It was, I think it was over 1,000 people. It was between probably 1,100 and 1,400 people, I would say. This gigantic ballroom place, whatever you want to call it, was wall to wall. I couldn't even see the end of the wave of people. It was great. And it was crazy how many Instagram and Telegram and YouTube followers like knew who I was. And they were coming out to me asking me to like sign their hat and stuff. A bunch of people were coming out to me telling me that they decided to convert to Catholicism for me. It was a very like surreal and humbling experience because I've been to these events before and like people will always know me from like Instagram or Telegram or something like that. But like it never like, I never think that like people actually know who I am. It's so weird. But it is extremely white pilling just like seeing all of these people who for the most part have the same like values and beliefs that you do and are supporting the same thing. Like I say this like every time I go to an event, it's like you get so black pilled with everything going on in the world, and then you go to these events and you realize that like you're not alone in like actually caring about like your country and about Jesus Christ and stuff. It's always awesome. But we met so many awesome people. Steve King was there, and one of my dad's boomerisms, which he did so many boomer things. He's so endearing, and it was awesome that my dad came with me, by the way. It was like, it's so awesome to have like something in common that we like care about, even though my dad is a total boomer, but it's so cute. And so he met Steve King and he took a picture with him and he's sending it to his friends, and he thinks that Steve King is Stephen King, the horror author, and he's telling people that he met Stephen King.
That guy Steve King you met, do you know him? Where do you know him from? Remember in the beginning, the guy with the book?
Oh, Arizona, he was a senator, yeah. I seen a couple of different things. I just got something about Trump speaking. But,
You thought it was Stephen King?
no, I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't. That Stephen King's a total communist. He's totally no good. Don't read his books. Don't go to his movies.
And who else did we meet? I met Kai finally. He's a cool guy. I met Wurzelroot, Jaden again. We met Jared Taylor, which Jared Taylor, I went up to him and I was like, hey, I've been watching your stuff for a really long time. Your stuff is great, blah, blah, all that stuff, or whatever. And he was like, oh, my goodness, that is very gracious of you to say, right? And then who else did we meet? We met Jesse Lee Peterson. He is awesome. He was like, is this your daddy? Amazing. Are you guys close? We talked for him for a little while. I met Laura Loomer again, who everybody always, anytime I post anything with Laura Loomer, everybody just roasts her really uncharitably. But she is super nice person in real life, like very nice, regardless of her faults that people point out. She's a very nice person in person. Yeah, so I met a bunch of awesome people. I finally got to meet Pure Politics, American Grayson, who I did a stream with before, America Plus, who is in my Telegram chat. I met a couple people from my Telegram chat. That was really cool. All the merch, my dad bought a t-shirt and a hat. I bought the Romans 1:8, I think it is, or something, that says, if God be with us, who could be against us? I bought that sweatshirt, got Nick to sign that. That was cool. That was the only thing that was accepting cash, though. Like, I thought they were gonna have a cash bar. It was like a debit credit card bar thing. So I brought all this cash, and like I end up having to use my credit card anyway. And I don't drink. I drink soda and water, but I saw the beer and alcohol prices. You people are insane. $9 for a can of beer. And I still got a picture with Nick. I'll get to that later. But I was a little bit disappointed that, because I understand because there were so many people, but last year when you walked into the event and scanned your barcode or whatever, you were able to just go in and take a picture with Nick, like in a private thing with a professional camera, and then like 8 months later they emailed you a picture that you took or whatever. This year they didn't do that. Nick came out and he was like talking to everybody and stuff like that, but you couldn't take a picture with him. But I understand because there was just like way too many people, and the thing is getting so big now that I would predict that in 2 years or so it's going to be nearly impossible to get tickets, and it's probably going to have to be like a weekend thing. It's going to have to be at least 2 or 3 days because it is getting huge. So this was the reception. We're walking around talking to everybody, and that lasted for like an hour and a half or something like that, and met a lot of great people. I met the 76 Fest people, girl named like Shanaka or Shania. I don't know her name. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's some like weird tribal name. I don't know. I don't know what name that is. Shanaka or something. And and her friend, who I only know by her Instagram handle. I don't know her real name. And they were cool. They love my dad. My dad was just like talking to everybody. I'm really happy that when we went to the Vax rally, he's such a boomer. He doesn't like understand like why you don't tell people like everything about yourself. He was like going up to everybody in New York, like telling everybody my full name and where I work and stuff like that. And I was like, what are you doing?
Would you go again next year?
100%. I can't wait to go again next year. They should do something for the people that go all the time because it's got to get so big.
We should get discounts, right? We get Spexo and Spexo back discounts.
Discounts are better seats.
VIP special Spexo seats.
Yeah, 100%. Respect your family seats.
So then finally they let us into the ballroom, and like this thing had to be super expensive. I don't know the specific details of how much everything costs or anything like that, but to rent out the ballroom, to get the merch made, to get the stage set up, everything. Like if everything was like just say $50 a plate per person, that's $50,000 right there. Who knows how much the ballroom itself was to rent. Setting up the stage had to cost at least $50,000 with all the equipment they had. So it was definitely a very expensive event to put on, and super professional. Anyway, let's get to the speeches. So we sit down and we have dinner. We have salad and chicken and some cake, dessert or whatever. Everything was pretty good. I don't like cooked tomatoes or whatever, like when tomatoes are like hot and soggy. I'm not a fan of that, so I didn't like that, but I liked the chicken, and the salad was cool. The dessert was fire. So anyway, then it finally starts, and Nick gets on stage and he brings up the super special guest that nobody was expecting, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I kept calling Marjorie Greene Taylor, but her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently. And this is huge. And this is the first thing I'll say to the people who have stupid criticisms of it. And it was just like this last year with Steve King, because he said Judeo-Christian, and we don't say that. And it's like, bro, like, all these people just cannot understand nuance or look at the big picture with anything. It is so infuriating. It's ridiculous. Like, people don't understand how huge of a deal that Marjorie Greene Taylor, did I say it right that time? I already forgot her name. That Marjorie, my girl Marge, that she is speaking at this event. Like, the legitimacy this gives AFPAC and the opportunities it opens up for the future of Nick Fuentes' career and America First in general are huge, because she has such a large following. She has legitimate political capital, and her following will now see that she's speaking at AFPAC and be interested in it, and then possibly be open or persuaded to the ideas of America First, and this gives it mainstream credibility. I don't understand what people don't get. Like, oh, well, she didn't say everything perfect, and she talked about topics that are boomer tier and normie, and that's not based. And it's like, bro, like, you don't understand like political strategy or the thing of like being a big tent where you welcome new people and you lead them in the right direction. You make alliances and things of that nature. Like, people just don't get it, and it's so annoying. And they really just should not like care about political things or anything like that. I don't even really care about politics anymore. It's just common sense. So the fact that she was there at all is amazing. Same thing with everybody else who was either a sitting or former member of the American government. Anybody who is an elected official or has that type of clout and popularity and following is amazing. To be at this grassroots event, self-funded, that was nothing 3.5 years ago. That the first AFPAC had 40 or whatever, however many people had it. Now it went from having less than 100 people. Last year it had 400 people, and this year it has 1,400. That's insane. And they were talking about it on stage too, that CPAC, the biggest conservative conference in America, took 30 years before it had 1,000 people in attendance. And I saw pictures from CPAC this year. I didn't go this time. Last year I went and I got kicked out. This year I didn't go to CPAC, but I saw pictures and it looked so dead. They let gingers in. I'm kidding. We love our gingers. Some people say they don't have souls. That is a lie. Gingers have souls. I'm super sure of it. I'm like 99% sure they have souls. But yeah, CPAC is cuck pack, cringe pack, whatever. They have like atheist boots and they promote, they're liberals. We know what they are or whatever. But anyway, so the fact that that AFPAC is moving at such a faster rate than CPAC is awesome. And also CPAC just has not like accomplished anything. AFPAC and Nick Fuentes have already drastically altered the political conversation in America and changed the Overton Windows ratio. So anyway, Marjorie speaks and then Vincent James comes on stage and he is just like, last year he gave an amazing speech. This year he made me want to go to war. Like I was listening, I wanted to like shove my head through a wall and like rip my hair out and just run into battle with a sword. Like he just hypes you up. It's awesome. I'm not really going to talk about Paul Gosar and Wendy Rogers and that other lady with the weird jacket who was kind of talking like a robot because they didn't really speak. They were just there through a video feed or whatever. But it's great that they did that they put their name on it. Once again, it doesn't matter specifically. Like it's not super important what they say or don't say. It's the fact that they are attaching their names and their faces to this event that legitimizes it. That is what is most important, and so many people just don't see that. It's like insane to me. And then Stu Peters came on stage and I had a drastic misunderstanding of Stu Peters and what he's about. I thought that he was like a more right-wing boomer tier professional newscaster guy. I had no idea that he is like an ex-rapper and like all this other stuff they did, and I had no idea that he said the types of things that he said. And he was basically borderline Fed posting, talking about like hanging Fauci and like a bunch of other stuff that was arguably not the appropriate place to say those things, one could say, I guess. But besides that, because that was just like an additional thing that he did, besides that, he called Marjorie a faker during his speech, right after she spoke, like 20 minutes after she spoke. And there were so many mixed reactions from this that like it was just ridiculous. Like everybody was like, well, he's telling the truth and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, you don't do that. The fact that she was there is an amazing thing. And it's not that he's specifically saying anything wrong or anything that Nick Fuentes didn't say himself before, but it's the fact that now she comes to this event, which is a huge thing for Nick and a huge thing for the movement in general, and you badmouth her on stage during the event. That is absolutely just a poor decision making, low impulse control. I don't know. I'm not trying to like make up stuff or anything like that, but I don't know if he was drunk or if he was just doesn't have the capacity to logically look at the situation he's in and understand presentation. Because people are like, oh, you stop being an optics cuck or whatever. Optics aren't going to save us and all this stupid nonsense. And like, it's been 5 years since this whole optics nonsense, and people just still don't understand what it means at all. Optics is about being able to discern when, where, and how to present things. That is what it is about. It is about being able to look at the situation you are currently in and understanding what is appropriate and what isn't to talk about, or just going out in general, like what you should wear, how you should present yourself or whatever. It's not about lying or, watering down your talking points or whatever. It's like basically if you're talking to a priest or your mother or your friend or a child or anybody else, you understand that you talk differently and you address people in a different way depending on the circumstance you are currently in. And that was not the moment to do that. That was the worst possible moment to do that. And it shouldn't have been done. That's not even the worst part about it, because Nick called him out on it on stage, because Nick got on stage and said, anybody can be an idiot and talk about killing people, but it takes a fighter to be in Congress and deal with these people all the time and all this stuff or whatever. So that was cool. But after that, Stu Peters doubled down on what he said, instead of what his appropriate response, once again, not knowing what is appropriate and what is not, the proper response from him should have been, I apologize for inappropriately criticizing Marjorie during a time of unity. I highly respect that she showed up at all, and I should have waited until my own show to talk about my feelings, or something like that. Something along those lines. That's all he would have probably had to do, and he didn't do it. He doubled down, and as a result, from all appearances, it seems like his relationship with Nick Fuentes is over, pretty much. So he really didn't, like, everybody's talking about, like, oh, he made the movement look bad and blah, blah, blah and stuff. And it's like, not really. He just made himself look bad. I mean, I don't think it's really going to negatively affect AFPAC or anything like that. I just think that he's completely burning bridges and just dying on an unnecessary hill, in my opinion, which is correct. And everybody's saying, oh, well, he was right because Marjorie Taylor, I can't think of, what is her name? MTG or MGT? Marjorie Taylor Greene? I think that's it. All right, so Marge, she did not disavow. She went to CPAC afterwards, and people were like, he's a white nationalist or whatever, and she was like, I don't watch a show, I don't really know anything about him, and I disavow white nationalism. That's what she disavowed, white nationalism, which we're not white nationalists, so okay. And she said, but she didn't say, oh, I regret going, I shouldn't have done it. She was like, this is a guy with a lot of followers of young, conservative, enthusiastic kids, and that's the people that I'm trying to reach. And she doesn't believe in canceling people or anything like that. And that's fine, whatever. And then she said some stuff about Putin or whatever, which is cringe, but whatever. Like, you can't, like, once again, she is a regular politician. She is not based in red pill, blah, blah, blah. She has a lot of problems. I do not like a lot of things she does or says, but that is not the point at all. Like, people just totally miss the big picture. It's so frustrating. It really is. I cannot wait to take these 40 days for Lent off of social media. I really cannot wait. Anyway, so she didn't disavow anything. And then she's posting videos from AFPAC on her Telegram and stuff, and on her Twitter or whatever, of her giving the speech at AFPAC. So whatever. I'm guessing behind the scenes, like, you know, people are working everything out or whatever, I'm sure. And shout out to Milo. Milo is the one who got Marjorie to speak at AFPAC, which is crazy. And I finally met Milo, and he posted our picture. He called it Spexolopolis or something. And he's like super nice, and I really wish that I had his personality abilities, where like you're just super social and open and stuff like that. I am like the complete opposite. I'm like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Oh yeah, great, nice to meet you, whatever. He comes, he's like, oh, Spexo, how are you? Finally, nice to meet you. It was funny, I was talking to Milo, and as we were talking, some kid came up and he was like, hey Milo, I met you when you were gay. But yeah, big shout out to Milo. Like, I talked to him a little bit, and like, people don't realize what he does like behind the scenes. And it's pretty funny because he has like a reputation of being like a clout chaser and a grifter and all this stuff. He does so much stuff like behind the scenes, and like gets people connected and does all this cool stuff that nobody knows about, and he doesn't like talk about it or like look for attention from it and stuff like that. So everything, I've been talking to Milo for a couple of months now, and everything about him seems like he is genuine and authentic, and that he's made drastic changes in his life. And he seems like a really good person, and I consider him a friend. But anyway, that's the proper opinion to have on the whole Marjorie Taylor Greene and Stu Peters situation. Stu Peters sucks, shouldn't have done that, should have apologized. And doubling down was the worst decision he made. And also, he has like 300, like, his whole story is super suspect, because he has like 300 and something thousand followers on Telegram, which is insane and like unheard of. Like, some of the most popular pages on Telegram don't have that. And like, he says that it's not bots, but it's definitely bots. There is no way he has that many. He came out of nowhere. Where did this guy come from? He says that he was like a total normie a year ago. He used to be a rapper and a bounty hunter. Which, what does that mean? What is a bounty hunter? What does that even mean? That he killed criminals? He tracked down wanted criminals and brought them in for justice? Like, what? And I remember I was in a chat with him and Milo was like, are your followers bots, right? And he uses Christ as a crutch to avoid criticism, and then goes and like talks about murdering people or that we should put people to death and stuff like that, which is like, it's so weird. Because I remember Milo was like, are your followers bots? Where did you get all your followers from? He was like, I don't know how I got such a big following, all glory to Christ. And then he'll go, oh, but we also, yeah, like we should hang Fauci and kill Bill Gates and stuff. So yeah, weird vibes from that dude. I met him before with Lauren Witzke, who Lauren Witzke is awesome. I know Stu Peters is Lauren Witzke's friend or whatever, and she's like defending him and stuff like that. But Lauren Witzke is awesome. She's a very nice person. But I met Stu Peters, and I don't know, he seemed like a, I don't even know, just a kind of like a standoffish guy. I don't know. But I mean, he let me take a picture, which is more than I could say for Gavin, because I went up to Gavin McGinnis, right? I went up to him and I was like, hey man, a big fan. I used to watch you all the time. And he was like, thanks, and like walked away. And I was like, all right. And then after the event, I saw him again, and I was going to walk up to him, and I saw somebody else walk up in front of me, and somebody was like, hey, I'm a big fan, Gavin. He's like, all right, thank you, right? And the guy was like, can I take a picture with you? And he was like, no pictures or whatever, and walked away. And I was like, all right, which, whatever, I get it. I'm sure he gets pictures all the time, and not saying anything bad about him or whatever, but I wanted to get a picture with Gavin McGinnis. I wanted to get a picture with a couple people that I didn't get to, but whatever. So like John Doyle, like people were crowding around him, and I wanted to go see Nick, so I couldn't get a picture with John Doyle. Anyway, so that's the whole Marjorie Taylor Greene situation with Stu Peters. Then afterwards, I think was, I don't know, Joe Arpaio, or I think Jesse Lee Peterson, I think spoke first. So Jesse Lee Peterson spoke first. He said a lot of funny things, but he just kept going on and on and on, which, and then so did Joe Arpaio. And it was funny with Joe Arpaio. Jesse Lee Peterson's awesome, by the way. I love Jesse Lee Peterson. I talked to him for a while. Me and my dad talked to him for a while after the events or whatever, and it was like, he's super nice and welcoming guy, super awesome. I love Jesse Lee Peterson. I total stan of Jesse Lee Peterson. But anyway, so then Joe Arpaio came on, and I'm pretty sure Joe Arpaio, who is awesome that he went there, America's sheriff, big in the Trump campaign. I didn't realize that he was the one who did the Obama birth certificate thing, but I remember watching this like documentary on BitChute a while ago about like proving that Obama's birth certificate was fake and stuff, and I guess he was like the main guy who perpetuated that whole investigation and stuff, which is awesome. And he did a lot of base things as sheriff and the border patrol thing or whatever. But it was funny because Joe Arpaio was speaking for so long, and everybody was just like, all right, let's go, you know? And then I look over at my dad, and he's just like super hyped at like every word he was saying. And like, if that is any indication, that like just proves my point, that like getting these people who could talk to other generations and other types of people that have different tastes and stuff is what Big Tent is. It's about attracting all of these other types of people. It is not about everybody like us who are in the know and know all the relevant facts and stuff like that. Like, this conference is supposed to, you know, get more people involved and legitimize it like it's a professional thing, and that is what these people like Joe Arpaio are doing. And the Joe Arpaio thing was mad funny. The funniest part of the night probably was when he said, he was like, I have a reputation for being the biggest racist in the country, and every massive applause. And then he was like, why are you clapping? I'm not. That was hilarious. That was so funny. And as I'm sitting down too, I'm checking my phone, and they're like, all these leftists are putting pictures up and talking about it's a white nationalist conference and stuff like that. And some liberal journalist guy put on Twitter, white nationalist Jesse Lee Peterson speaks at far right rally or something like that. And they showed Jesse Lee Peterson, who was like the blackest guy in the world, on stage in the picture. And it's like, these people are just ridiculous. Like, they're so silly. You're gonna post a picture of Jesse Lee Peterson speaking on stage and call him a white nationalist? Like, it's just so, it's so stupid. Who are they? Nick is right. Who are they writing these articles for? Who is taking these people seriously anymore? Oh, and I forgot about Andrew Torba. I met Andrew Torba too, very nice guy. Andrew Torba gave probably my favorite speech of the night, because it was basically just a homily, and it was great. It was all about Jesus Christ, all about God. He dropped the I hate the Antichrist thing, which was one of the stickers we got in the little like bag that we got. We got a bunch of like pins and stickers and stuff like that. I posted it on my Instagram and Telegram, I think. I'll sell it for $20,000 if anybody wants, hit me up. But yeah, Torba, like, I think Vincent James had the most like energetic and enthusiastic speech and like made you want to fight and stuff like that. But Torba had like such a spiritual speech. It was great. Please Convert to Catholicism tour. But oh, I forgot to mention that beforehand there was this priest that led us in prayer with the Our Father and gave our food a blessing and stuff like that. That was awesome. That was sick. I don't know if that priest is who that guy is, but he was great. So then Nick Fuentes gets on stage, does the Stu Peters thing, where he calls him an idiot basically, and which was very, I think, needed to be done, obviously. But he gave a great speech. I don't know, I still think I enjoyed last year's speech better than this year's speech. This speech was great as well. All of the speeches are great, but I think that I don't know, he was using notes this time, and last year he wrote out a speech and he was like, I wrote a speech, but I'm just gonna speak from the heart or whatever, and he gave an hour-long greatest speech ever. But I also think that it was also a time constraint, because the thing was supposed to end at 12 o'clock. It didn't end until 2:30, and so I think maybe that he wanted to keep it a little bit shorter or something, wanted to stay on the certain points that he wanted to cover. But it was great. He had a lot of good sound bites. He took a rosary out while he was speaking. That was awesome. And yeah, so that was basically the speakers. And then afterwards it shuts down, and everybody starts walking towards the stage or whatever to meet everybody and stuff. So like I said, I tried to see John Doyle. There was too many people. Then nobody could find Nick, and I saw somebody was pointing a camera, and I saw in the camera's reflection that it was Nick talking to Michelle Malkin or whatever. So I went and waited or whatever, and then finally he started coming out and people started going to him. We had to wait probably 30 minutes to actually get up to him, because so many people wanted to take pictures and stuff like that. And I gave Nick a rosary that is a third-class relic, which, if you don't know how relics work, first-class relic is a body part of a saint, like a bone or I think it's just a body part. I think just like a bone or something like that would be a first-class relic, and then a second-class relic would be their clothes or tools that they used or something like that. And then you use first and second-class relics, you can make third-class relics, and those are the relics that people will keep in their house and stuff like that. I thought I was being unique by getting this for him because my friend got me a rosary for because somebody was bringing relics to this church, and he brought a bunch of objects to turn into relics. And he gave me one, and so I thought I was unique by giving one to Nick, but I heard that a bunch of other people did too, so that sucks, but whatever. So I gave this third-class relic to Nick. It was a rosary, and that was cool. Then me and my dad took a picture with him, and that was basically the end of the event. And then we left, and we couldn't figure out where the Uber was going to pick us up, and we met some girl, and we were trying to ask her, but she didn't know either, and she ended up walking with us to the main entrance. And it was funny because her and my dad were just talking the entire time we were walking, and she was a big fan of Nick and stuff like that. And then my dad she was with us the whole time, and my dad mentioned my username. He said Spexo, and she was like, "Oh, Spexo, I love Spexo," or whatever. And she was like, "Oh, do you know my son?" And she was like, "No." And she was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Spexo." And she was like, "Oh, I love your content." And I was like, "You don't even know what I look like. How do you love my content?" I mean, it might have been because I change appearances every month, and I look like a totally different person every month. But also I was wearing glasses, which I never ever wear glasses, and literally nobody mentioned my glasses. It was hilarious. I wore glasses because I thought that it fit the look, and I thought I was gonna see if people even noticed that I was wearing glasses. Not one person noticed I was wearing glasses. Oh, I wanted to mention some boomerisms my dad did today too, because so we went back to the hotel, and then my uncle picked us up this morning because he lives somewhere out here, and they were having a conversation in the car, and I want to do a live stream with my dad and uncle because their boomer conversation is hilarious. Boomers are so endearing. It's so cute. My dad was he was talking to my uncle, and he was like, "Yeah, what was that thing we went to last night? Outback or Fast Pack?" I was like, AFPAC.
Dad, what was the name of the event we went to last night?
The event?
Yeah.
I would call it AFPAC.
Nice.
What is it?
No, that's all right. AFPAC.
AFPAC.
There you go. And what was your favorite part? Who was your favorite speaker?
We know who the favorite speaker is, but there was a couple of good ones. But Nick rocked them. Nick is great, and can't say anything about Joe. and the blonde congresswoman was good too. They were all good.
And then he goes, oh yeah, the guy that runs the whole thing, he got banned from Twitter, so he made his own website, Cute TV or something. Everybody's twitting about it. I'm just like, aw. And then my uncle's like, yeah, they're banning everybody. I said that they should put a moat around the border and fill it with hungry crocodiles to prevent illegal immigrants from coming over, and they banned me from Facebook. So yeah, that was basically my AFPAC experience. It was awesome. I'm sure I'll go to the next one next year. I don't think I'll have hair though, because actually my hair looks really good right now in this light, I guess. But I'm going so bald. It's so gross. But so I'm probably gonna have to shave my head really soon. So I don't think I'll have hair at next AFPAC. That's my prediction for next year. And I don't know, I can't guarantee that I'm gonna go, but right now I plan on going for as long as I can for the rest of my life. Yeah, I definitely, like I said, politics is not even like my main concern right now. My main concern is Catholicism and learning as much about it and everything as much as I can. So I really don't even, I'm not really too worried about politics, but the reason that I support America First is because it is the only movement that closely aligns with my values, and my political ideology is kingship of Christ, and the entire event was specifically centered in Jesus Christ, and that is what I support. I support Christian values. I support not hating people because of that they're white. I support traditional family values. I support reinvigorating cultural norms. I'm against big tech, the American government, the satanic cabal, and the elites that are running our country. Andrew Torba said it best: I hate sin, I hate the Antichrist, I love Jesus Christ, and I feel that America First is the only political movement that has the chance at all to push our country in a Christian direction. And I'm glad that I've been supporting it for so long. I've been supporting, well, not supporting, but I've been watching America First since 2018 and started supporting towards the end of 2018, and basically been watching Nick Fuentes ever since. And you know, it's just like watching how big it's become from such a small thing is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm hyped. I'm white-pilled for the future. It was awesome experience. It was great to meet everybody that came up to me and said hi and stuff. Awesome to meet you. God bless you guys. And this might be the last video I make until after Lent, because like I said, I'm going dark for all of Lent. 46 days, I think it is, if you include the Sundays, where just no social media, YouTube, nothing at all, no posting, you know. And so that is what I'm gonna do. So I won't see any of you guys. I won't be reachable to anybody for 46 days. I might try to do a video on Tuesday, but I can't commit to that yet. But I think that's gonna be it. And then when we come back from Lent, Pine Sap Groiper and I, who I've been doing Catholic streams with, we're gonna start like a regular podcast type thing. So that's gonna be awesome. Very excited for the future. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you.
I don't think God's on our side. I know he is.
Nice. Based.
Right? Just stick around and watch the miracles get better and better.